Hey ladies, this is Breanna and I want to show you how I did my box braid sew-in. But before we get started, I'm asking all of you who are watching to please subscribe to this channel and thumbs up this video if you haven't already. Because I really love showing you guys how to do these styles on yourself for free, and I want to help as many women as I possibly can. My goal is to get to 500,000 subscribers, and I know with your help, we can make it happen. Now let's slay this look. These are the materials that you are going to need to create this super beautiful hairstyle. I used 3 packs of Yaki weaving hair and 2 packs of super jumbo braiding hair. Now for our first weft of extensions, this is how you want to actually prepare your braids, because this is a box braid sew-in, so you want to use track hair in order to create this look. As an example, I'm showing you how you want to actually prepare your hair when you're beginning to braid. And I highly suggest that you use a kinky texture type of hair or a yaki texture in order to create a realistic look with your box braids. So you know that sew-ins typically take about 2 to 3 hours depending on how fast you are, and box braids can literally take upwards of 8 hours to do depending on how big your braids are. So this should help you to achieve the style in as little as 4 hours. So now what we're gonna do is actually begin dipping our ends of our braids into hot water, because even though this is yaki hair, you still wanna make sure you seal the ends so that the braids won't unravel. Now it's very important that you leave that in literally for a couple of minutes, because this is made with 100% human hair. So it has a tendency to take a little bit of a time for it to actually mold so that it doesn't unravel at the ends. Then when you pull it out the water, you're just gonna pat it dry with your towel. This step is so important so that the braids on your weft is not frizzy. That's why you wanna pat it and slightly squeeze it so that it's fully dry. After drying your bundles, this is how it should look so far. And at this point, this is how my braid pattern looks. And you wanna make sure that you separate the tails into 2 sections so that you can braid 2 braids. Now, what I like to do when I'm braiding my hair is to always braid straight to the back, going away from the part, because it makes your install look very, very flat, especially when it's near the top. So you just continue braiding all the way to the very ends, and I'm gonna show you really quickly how you wanna position your braids when you're stitching them down. You simply cross them in the back and you pull the tails up in order to stitch. Now what you see right here is exactly how I do my braid pattern for regular sew-ins, and it also comes in handy when doing this box braid technique. You want to make sure that you're using a curved needle, and you want to use nylon sewing thread so that it doesn't cause any snagging or ripping on your hair. In order to stitch your braids down, always go through both braids and wrap the thread around the needle twice. Pull through, and that creates your knot. You want to make sure you're going up a little bit of a space at a time for your first couple of knots, and then you want to skip about ½ an inch at a time so that you can quickly stitch down your braids. The really cool thing I like about doing this sewing technique when I'm actually creating this base is that it's super, super fast. You don't have to do your braids really small because you won't be wearing the style for extremely long. This is just a very quick and easy way to pull off the look of box braids without actually having to box braid your entire head. And at this point, this is how your braid pattern should look, with the leave out at the top and the 2 braids in the front will be your leave out as well. Now I'm just gonna show you, for instance, how wide you want your sections to be. So as you can see, this will serve as a middle part box braid sew-in hairstyle. And on both sides, you can see that's where your leave out will be. And you can see that the thickness will allow for about 2 rows of braids at the top. Now it's time to stitch down our hair extensions. Make sure you're doing the same stitching technique in order to sew down your wefts as you did with your actual braids. Keep in mind that this is an advanced hairstyle because you're incorporating the sew-in with the box braiding method to pull off this really cool look. Now I'm pointing to show you here that you're always going to stitch your extensions on both sides of your cornrow braid. This enables you to have a lot of fullness in the back, and it also will prevent your extensions from being seen because you have to sew them vertically. So I never actually saw this look before, but I thought, hey, why not give it a try to see how it turns out. Now we're going to start stitching on this braid here, and you want to make sure that you already attached your needle and thread to your weft so that when you pull it through your braid, it goes exactly in the spot where you want to begin. Now make sure you're sewing on the opposite side of that braid, because remember, you want to sew on both sides of your cornrow braids to make your hair look very, very full. Now, for many of you who are watching that may say, hey, you are not supposed to sew in your extensions vertically. I know you're supposed to sew them horizontal and do the flip over method, but with this particular style, this is how you actually hide the wefts so that when you're fully finished, you don't see rows of extensions. Because I'm stitching vertically and the braids are falling, they're covering simultaneously up the track so that you don't see them when you're wearing the style. I noticed that when I did sew it horizontally in the back, that no matter how I positioned the weft to make the braids fall a certain way, I still saw the weft. So that's one trick I want you to keep in mind so that it conceals your wefts. Now that we're fully sewn in, I'm just showing you a look of how it looks in the back. Now, if you see a few wefts, that's totally fine, but this technique allows you to cover up the majority of the wefts when you sew it vertically. Now, I'm just pointing to show you that with your first track, you want to make sure you literally sew going all the way around the perimeter of your head. For this particular style, this is going to make sure that you're able to pull off the look if you stitch your extensions vertically, meaning up and down. Now, we are almost done, and I'm going to show you how to actually do a box braid if you're not sure how to do it. One of my tricks for very neat and beautiful braids, especially at the roots, is to put edge control at the top area of the braid and also at the tail end. Now, you want to make sure you feather out your braiding hair so that your braids come to a fine point, and you want to pinch off a small amount of hair. Now, depending on how big your braids are on your weft will determine how big your box braids need to be. Really briefly, I'm going to show you how to actually create a box braid, but first you got to prep the hair, right? So you want to pinch off a third and wrap it around a 2/3 bigger section. Grab your 3 main fingers and pinch the hair there. And then with your less dominant hand, you're going to insert the hand here through the area holding the hair, just like you see here. And then you're going to rotate these 3 fingers. This is your dominant hand. And then you're going to open your pincher and your thumb to grab that third leg. So now we have 3 separate legs, and this is a technique that I like to use when I'm actually braiding individual braids. Make sure you divide your section into 2 pieces because this ensures that your braid will not slide off. Now first, you're going to begin attaching the braiding hair to this first piece here, and it's very important that you maintain control and grip with all 3 legs so that your hair does not slide off of your section. You're going to braid just a couple of times, and then you're going to grab that loose hair here and add it to a different leg. In order to actually pull off this individual braid, you want to make sure that you divide it into 2 pieces, and then when you're braiding it, you're very consistent on your tension on all 3 legs. You may not get it your first time. That's why when doing box braids, you have to practice. You have to continue to practice until you get the style down like nothing. So now we're just going to keep braiding going all the way down to the ends, and that's why it was very important to already put edge control on the very ends of your hair, because it keeps it slick inside of your box braids without causing any frizz. Now at this point, you're going to slightly cut the ends because you want to make sure that all your braids come to the exact same point. And what you want to do is slightly go down at an angle so it can go at a fine point at the end. Make sure that you always pinch off some of your hair from one of your legs so that you can make all of your legs even. This is going to allow you to braid to the very, very ends. And that, my friends, is how you ace a box braid. Now that we're all done, I'm just pushing some of the braids to the back to show you how seamless this looks. And ladies, that is it for the box braid sew-in hairstyle. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I enjoyed creating it for you guys. I'm currently at 370,000 subscribers on this channel, and one of my YouTube goals is to get to 500,000. I want to help as many women as I possibly can. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can catch my future videos. So until then, next time, ladies, see you later.